Hello, I'm going to be talking to you today about differentiating faculty development during COVID-19. I'm Maha Beli. I'm an associate professor of practice at the Center for Learning and Teaching at the American University in Cairo, but I'm also the co-founder of Virtually Connecting and Equity Inbound, which are open communities. How are you feeling today? These slides are open for commenting at bit.ly/AECT Belly. This is case sensitive, so you can comment on these anytime. Just to let you know, my institution is the American University in Cairo, and the context is we're a private nonprofit American-style liberal arts institution based in Cairo, Egypt. And most of our students are privileged, but we have a few scholarship students. The professors are American, Egyptian, and international, but most of the students are Egyptian. Now, the main ways in which my department, which is the Center for Learning and Teaching, approached faculty development during the pandemic, and which I feel is worth sharing and learning from, are the following. We centered care and social justice, and we respected and nurtured faculty's agency, and adaptability was key to our approach. We also modeled a lot for faculty, and we tried to nurture their imagination. We made the most of local opportunities, learning communities, and digital literacies. So the first thing is centering values of care and social justice. And so, for example, even though we offered basic training on learning management systems and lecture capture software, which was essential, we also recognized that people have different teaching philosophies and need alternatives. And so we offered guidelines for alternative ways, for example, of online interaction. But more importantly, I think it's important to think about this as expanding educators' capabilities via digital literacies rather than tools and skills and training alone. And so to care for faculty so that they can care for students, we did different things. Like we had a morning coffee and afternoon check-in. We did one-on-one consultations. We did ask us anything sessions, webinars online. So it was, apart from, lots and lots of phone calls and WhatsApp messages, which I'm sure many of you had to deal with. Now, in terms of equity and adaptability, there's so many dimensions to this. So for example, initially, when we were giving guidance to faculty, we said center equity, and let's do mostly asynchronous learning because it's more accessible to people with lower infrastructure and busy lives. And then we adapted because we realized that synchronous was working better than expected, and it had lower cognitive load for both students and teachers, and it was needed for the socio-emotional dimension of being in a pandemic where, there was physical distancing. Also, in terms of adaptability, we gave guidance for alternative assessments, but then we did multiple sessions on this, and we kept updating the guidelines and doing departmental consultations as the whole situation evolved. It's important when talking about equity to look at all the dimensions of social justice, the economic, the cultural, and the political. So sometimes when you look at the economic dimension, you're only focusing on people's access to infrastructure, but you're not looking at whose culture is being taken into account and who is involved in making decisions. Are different faculty making decisions, or is it a top-down decision? Are students involved in making decisions? Do students have a right to say, oh, we want to be a gradeless semester this semester, like a no credit, credit fail type of thing, for example. It's also important to keep in mind that, there's a trauma happening in the world right now. A lot of us are going through this trauma, even though we're in the same storm, we're not all in the same boat. So, for example, Jasmine Roberts talks to us about how Black people are, unequally affected by this pandemic. So we need to think about the combination of systemic racism happening on top of this trauma of the pandemic and how that might be affecting certain people, how some people are economically affected and others are affected from their health. And this is an unevenly distributed type of trauma that we're going through. So whenever we think about equity and equality, we want to make sure that both in the faculty development and in the way faculty treat their students, we know that not everyone needs the same resources to reach the same outcomes, but also that not everyone needs the same outcome. Maybe someone wants an orange, not an apple. And maybe someone has a lot of access to a lot of things, but they need care and not fruit. Intentionally equitable hospitality is a notion of thinking about yourself as the teacher, but also as the faculty developer, as the host. Whom do you listen to when you're making decisions about what to do next? How do you make sure that every person feels welcome? And being equitable, you want to be hospitable to all students, and then also when you're a faculty member, to be hospitable to all faculty, right? The faculty developers need to be hospitable to all faculty, each and every one, and not just all together. Now, in terms of adaptability and modeling, there's a few other things we did. So for example, we offered workshops and they became more about modeling how to teach and learn online, not just the content that they offered. We created a self-paced module for preparing to teach online because we wanted them to know how to do that as well. And to be able to take their time, you know, whoever needed more or less time to work on this. We created an online institute for teachers to learn from each other and to model for them both learning communities, but also good use of synchronous time. If they're going to use synchronous anyway, they need to learn to use it effectively. They need to know how to use Zoom breakouts in a way that would promote learning. And so one of the ways we did that was to use something called liberating structures. You could look it up, liberatingstructures.com. Different ways of making sure that group work is effective. Adaptability also includes recognizing the need for community building. I noticed that a lot of faculty who had no experience with online blended learning were not doing this very well. And so I spent my August creating community building resources for teachers who don't know how to do so online. And you can check this out. And there's ideas in all kinds of areas of, you know, what are you doing to use your synchronous time better? How can you do warm-ups, introductory activities, ongoing conversations? Another thing that we thought was really important is local professional development. There were so many ways you could benefit from what's happening globally, but also have a local cohort and making use of what's already open. So other than, I know not everyone's going to join, you know, Twitter and be like very active there, but they're just recognizing that no size fits all, that we need to think about different approaches. So that some faculty development can be closed and some of it can be open. Some of it can be more structured and some of it can be less structured. Some of it could be more playful. These different things will work for different people and for different purposes. So not to offer all of our professional development in one way, which is like a 1-hour webinar, for example. And it's so important to give faculty choices and multiple pathways for professional development, not just one thing in one way. So for example, DigPins was an international collaboration where faculty in different institutions in the US and my institution here in Egypt worked together for some things on Slack, on Twitter. We did some Zoom meetings. And at the same time, we had local meetings where just the AUC faculty would meet together and have a conversation. And so you managed to learn from what's happening globally while at the same time developing your local context. I've been joining a lot of Liberating Structures meetups. These are free. You can look those up on Eventbrite and join some of these where you have discussions and you learn new ways of interacting online. And I developed my own Liberating Lunches. These are like half-hour, 45-minute conversations open to anyone in the world to just come and have a discussion around what's happening in education these days. The community building resources I just shared was an example of a global collaboration. There are people from different countries joining me, and if you look at them, you'll see that. And then the Socially Just Academia is another local initiative I've got centered around how to make academia more socially just. And I've got a group of people in my own institution, but also a group of people all over the world working on this. It's really important to think about how much agency and support did institutions offer teachers to embody their teaching philosophy online and shift their assessment to alternative ones. And then we need to also remember that lecturers get a lot of recognition for the burden of shifting online, and they deserve that. They did do a lot of work, but truly it's the invisible administrative staff who are keeping the ship afloat. And that's from an article by Laura Chernovich et al. So for the future, just to summarize, in a world where we will continually face complex, unprecedented uncertainties, what will help us, in my opinion, is reimagining faculty development as fostering imagination around central values and not just offering tools and strategies. So faculty development needs to center values, equity and care being key, in my opinion, foster imagination and agency rather than offering standard solutions, model adaptability and good pedagogy, build capability via digital literacy and creativity, nurture and leverage learning communities for faculty to learn from each other locally or internationally, and leverage openness and global opportunities. Thank you.